All right, everyone. I'm here with Barncat. We are streaming the top cut here of TTS Season 7 League. We got Morgan Reed versus Suzume Keizo, Leaf. How we doing, Barncat? What's up, man?
Hey, doing fantastic, Ryan. How about yourself?
I am doing good. Say hi to Blair for me. Um, we have a really great game set up here, and I'm super excited to watch these guys go at it. They definitely played before, and it looks like you can see at the top of the screen that was the role for priority, and so Leaf won that, and I believe I'm not sure what the split was, but we ended up with Demons Downtown versus Senators, and I'm not sure what threat level they are going at, but we'll find out super soon. Morgan's got a Guardian squad here, and you played some Guardians this season, correct?
Yeah, I'm currently riding a Guardian squad into the current bracket. Same with these gentlemen. I had a little bit more flavor to mine because I do have a dual affiliation, if you could count Black Order as that. These guys are both mono affiliated, but comfortable at any threat level. Um, and of note about both of these two rosters, the prevailing thought, with Guardians for the longest time was that you want to go wide. With both what Morgan and Mr. Kazo are doing, you can notice that with some of the threat level and the build there, that it doesn't seem that these guys are really built to go all that wide. It seems that they play more a tall, 4 to 5 wide type style um, with Guardians. So it should be really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really interested to see how they go. Morgan won his last game against Jacob from the Danger Room, running Guardians with Juggernaut to great effect. I find this map really interesting. We've seen this played a couple times already in the cut. That size 4 fire truck in the middle of the board is a really interesting piece of terrain for this map layout.
Yeah, most certainly. And that's really going to come into effect with some of those larger models that have those bigger throws. And in particular, there may be a certain big green monster that might be able to really leverage that on Morgan's side. So we'll see if he makes an appearance. A good chance that might be the case. I know Morgan's a big fan of the guy, and we have two higher threat levels out here, but I don't know if Demons is going to be a deterrence for that. So it should be interesting.
This is really fascinating. Do you think Morgan picked eight? He had to have gone the 18, not the 14 here, right? Well, this has to be an 18 threat level game they're picking, right? Or 19. Demons is 19. Sorry.
Yeah. I think these guys are both fine at both levels. I mean, these are well constructed rosters as you would expect with gentlemen playing at this level. Um, I do think that I mean they can both do some interesting things at 18, but again, Morgan really likes that Hulk, and I think he likes to get him on the table when he can. Obviously, a higher threat level can support that. I personally, and when running Guardians, um, and I've been saying this for as long as I've been running the affiliation ever since the update,
Right.
that I truly believe that their strongest level is at 5 wide. It really allows you to leverage the leadership and those winging it tokens to the greatest degree. You're typically always going to have three good candidates, typically not putting one on Groot, and then there's always somebody else. Sometimes it's a Rocket, sometimes it's a Star Lord, sometimes it's that other Splash character that's in there that just maybe isn't the best candidate just due to the way ranges are working out. So it looks like with the way these gentlemen have both constructed their rosters that they're kind of looking at that 5 wide potentiality to, in my opinion, really get the most leverage out of Star Lord's leadership.
I am interested. So it looks like Leaf took secures, and
Mhm.
Demons is one of the slower secures in the game. Each is only netting you 1 point. And then there's the power drain on getting Senators, which when you get whoever finds the senator is only netting those 2 points every round. So we might be in store for a pretty long game here because this is a pretty slow combination. A max of 5 VPs can be gained on any given round in this game. And even then, that's tough because of the Demons Downtown spread. Um, have you ever played this particular combination before, Demons and Senators?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I run demons in my list.
Sure.
I'm a big Ghost Rider proponent. I'm a big proponent of the pay to flip C shapes.
Hmm.
With the league list that I'm running, Black Order Guardians, I do use Researcher instead of Senators, but I'm working on a side list Guardians list that does use Senators, and so very familiar. Um, I think this can be a pretty punishing game. There's a good chance that we're going to see some pretty decent attrition going on here. This is really going to either force people to be on the center of the board to really try to maximize what they think they might be able to get out of the 3 points there, or what you're going to see is the game board and sides just end up collapsing onto that senator, and whoever's got that thing is going to be at a tremendous disadvantage.
Sure. Um, so let's go through what got selected for each player real quick before they even begin. You got Leaf with Doctor Voodoo,
Yep.
Rocket, Captain America, Star Lord, and Nebula, and
Wow.
then Morgan is running Star Lord, Rocket, Groot, and Hulk.
Yep.
So it looks like they were playing on 14, which is really interesting.
Yeah. I like the idea of forcing the go low there because I was just taking a look at Suzume's roster and seeing that he's got both a Ghost Rider and a Voodoo. And knowing that you're going to be able to get probably Rocket and Groot potentially in that core back there. What a lot of times when I'll do a demons, I'll leave a Rocket completely on the back line, allow him to get incinerated, post Groot up in front of him, run around all crazy with the Ghost Rider. If you can put a Voodoo potentially in there, depending on the way you build this list, who's also immune to incinerate, could be in a huge problem. So I like the idea of potentially going low here.
Yeah, let's keep in mind that Nebula will not be any use in the actual scenario play here. So, in terms of characters that can actually interact with things, you're looking at um, 4 for Morgan and 4 for Leaf. But with Voodoo on the board, that could become 4-3 in terms of characters that can play objectives very quickly.
Yeah, it's a great point, Ryan. Um, I don't know, I think we've all heard, I'm a big fan of your guys' podcast for
Oh,
one, and so we've
thanks.
all kind of heard Morgan's thoughts on these, in the past when he'd said, "Well, I'm not that big of a fan of models that can't interact with objectives or, the scoring side." Well, I do believe he's running Nebula, right? So
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
maybe a little bit of change of heart there, just because of how good she is at what she does as far as that specialist role.
Well, Leaf's got the Nebula on there, right? Morgan's not running Nebula. I think that's
Correct.
correct.
I do
Yeah.
believe that's just in his roster, though.
Right. So I'm wondering where Morgan would bring Nebula out. I can ask him that like another time. What do you think of the tactics card spread here? So Morgan, the deadly duo, sacrifice, climbing gear, brace, field dressing, and then very similar field dressing, climbing gear, brace, but bird of prey for Falcon and or Captain America, sorry, and Crew of the Milano for the condition protection, which is nice on Demons Downtown.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are both pretty interesting picks. If I had to choose one or the other, I would say that I would like Morgan's spread. It looks like he's anticipating a little bit more of a violent encounter here. I think that is probably what we're going to see. Sacrifice is going to come in really big on that. Um, Deadly Duo. Look, if you're running Guardians of the Galaxy, and that is not somehow in your deck, that just means that you really couldn't figure out a way to put Groot on the board.
Sure.
It is arguably, uh, probably one of the top 5 tactics cards in the game, period, if you don't count banned and restricted. So, of course, you're going to see it out on both sides. People are obviously seeming to really like the out of turn movement of climbing gear, or having that be a potential way to reset a Rocket and Groot together in the absence of having Indomitable not in here right now.
What do you think of the Captain America play here for Leaf? The choice to bring Sam in as that 3 threat, and the Bird of Prey is only going to come into play against Morgan's Star Lord, I think, because Star Lord's the only flyer on the other side of the table.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with Bird of Prey. I am having to look up the card right now. Actually, it's not something you see a lot. Um, the thing is with Sam is he is just a fantastic standalone three. I believe maybe the reason that he's got him out there is he is pretty decent against Rocket and Groot. Um, he can separate them up a little bit if you kind of do it right. Um, or if you allow something to get into Rocket, but having those ricochets just go back into Groot, all that other stuff. His mobility is absolutely crushing. He's a pretty fantastic and solid defensive player as well. So you do get a lot out of Sam in this matchup, especially because there are no mystic attacks really coming in on Morgan's side in the
Right.
absence of a voodoo. So I think he might be thinking that he would be missing the voodoo in this matchup, and that Sam's a pretty safe play just for that mobility standpoint. Taking a look at this Birds of Prey card, you're right. This only does apply to Star Lord, um, and this is pretty nasty. So, for anybody that's not familiar, Sam Wilson will add 3 dice to the attack roll against that character and may reroll any number of attack dice during the attack. If this attack deals damage, the enemy character loses flight superpower until the end of the round. Um, so yeah, that's really going to give Sam some real punch into a Star Lord. You combine that with some of Sam's mobility and getting up on the guy. Uh, that could be a bit of a surprise because he's going to be able to get up on there and get into Star Lord's range.
I think that's probably what he's got it there for, right? To
Yeah.
try and bully um, Morgan's Star Lord. So Leaf went first. He brought Voodoo up to the middle of the table, um, just getting him right on that center point, hiding him behind that truck. I'm wondering if what Morgan's play here is did not find the senator, by the way. And I think Morgan's just hucking that truck at Voodoo right off the bat.
Yeah, right off the bat. No need to bother. Just get that brace out of the way early.
Yep. And maybe Leaf just
So you can't
decides
even afford it.
no,
Yeah.
he can't
Well, I
afford
mean,
it right
good.
now because
Yeah.
he looked for the senator, right?
So yeah,
So
absolutely. Just go ahead and get that out of the way.
and so we'll see what a Voodoo rolls here. Now there is a little bit of a danger of powering that Voodoo up because if he can get that 6, he's going to he could always pop it on that Hulk. But Hulk's here to punch, right? Sorry, I'm trying to see if they are what the
Yeah.
roll was.
And well, obviously, if Holt can get his hands on an objective, he is a very potent carrier of that
Yeah.
senator.
Oh, and sorry, Voodoo found the senator.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just didn't notice the token there because we were chatting. So Voodoo did find the senator, but
Yeah.
it
All
looks
the
like
more
Hulk.
reason to throw a fire truck at him.
Yeah, Hulk now just dealt 4 damage to him on the truck. So
Yeah. I don't see Voodoo holding this throughout the round. There's just too much range. I'm surprised that he brought him up so early. Um, but I don't think he was expecting. Well, maybe he wanted to force his early Hulk activation. But yeah, really interesting.
So it looks like a climbing gear is being used on Voodoo to pull him back. I can't actually. I think there's a bit of lag happening in the game because I didn't see the dice actually get rolled for what Hulk was doing there. I'm not sure if that 4 was the truck and the attack or just the if Hulk was still in range for the attack there. We're getting a little bit of a delay on our end. But the climbing gear being used to really good effect on Voodoo. It's going to be tough for Morgan to. I don't think Morgan's going to be able to get that senator off Voodoo this round.
I believe Rocket might be able to get range back there onto that point. Um,
Oh yeah, maybe yeah. But even then, if he pops that senator out, there's all sorts of people that Leaf could then potentially go with to get it back.
yeah, absolutely. Either way, I think you got to like the Hulk positioning here. Maybe you don't want to move him up this early in the round, but maybe that's going to set up a lot of good things for Morgan. Really pushing in and pressuring that back line with some of these lower threat models and maybe trying to bully the board while he sets up maybe a chance to try to get his rocket and group kind of posted up in the center.
You can
Cut the table in half and maybe go from there.
if you're Leaf, do you try and burn down this Hulk as quickly as possible? Maybe put all guns on target. And you say, I'm just going to attrition this Hulk down. If I can get him out, then I'll have better numbers. And I like my chances against his Rocket Groot and Star Lord if I can just bully him out of the game.
I think when this Hulk is presenting himself so early in the matchup, uh, that it almost forces your hand if you're Suzume, in my opinion, because you're gonna have to deal with him at some point, right? I mean, basically, whenever you're running up against a Hulk, you've got two choices. You can try to ignore him for as long as you can, or you just go all out into the guy. Um, with him presenting himself like this so early in the matchup, he's got several potential double attacks to go into a Hulk. Maybe not several. He's got Rocket that can definitely get into him twice. Star-Lord will get into him. Uh, Captain Falcon, sorry, excuse me, a Captain Falcon with his Falcon punch, right? Uh, Captain America will definitely be able to get into him, as well as Groot. So, you could be looking at a Hulk easily taking 7 to 9 damage this round,
Yeah, for sure.
and at that point, like you pour it into the guy, and what does that leave Morgan's squad with?
It is tough for Morgan that he found the senator on that first roll in
Yeah,
that middle safe house. That does put him behind. Well, maybe puts him a little bit behind. It'll be hard to maintain that parity. He'll get them. He has potential to get that middle point. He's got potential, and he'll get his back point. Probably Star Lord will cap that, and then it'll be 3-2 potentially at this round because you got to imagine Leaf is just going to move up and lay into Hulk here and leverage the fact that he's got that senator on Voodoo.
yeah, absolutely. And I was just gonna say, it's like, this is not like a lot of other crises where, you're only gonna go down one at the end of round one after something like this. Like, okay. It's really gonna come down to uh how well Hulk can weather this first round.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously he's gonna be powered up. He's gonna be activating early next turn, and it is gonna be havoc.
it's gonna be
So
pain. Yeah, it's gonna absolutely be pain. Something to note here is again in what happened. Again, we missed it, but you saw Hulk double moved through the truck at Voodoo for 4 damage, and Voodoo rolled too many dice the first time because you roll one less while holding the senator, and he took 4. So you right now are looking at a pretty good roll from Star Lord here. 3 hits into a 1 block with Hulk, 2 blocks in Hulk. So Hulk will take 1 damage, which is honestly a really good best case scenario there for Morgan. Get a little bit of power, don't take a lot of damage.
yeah, this whole round is really, again, it's gonna come down to how little damage we can get on that Hulk. He is gonna get his power just from the power phase. That's gonna pretty much allow him to do whatever he wants. After he gets attacked a few times, if you get his damage up to like 7 or 8, and he's he's gonna be at 10 anyhow. I mean, that's a anything beyond that level is kind of a worst case scenario for Morgan.
Yeah, exactly. You basically, if Morgan can keep Hulk alive into round 3, I feel like he likes where he's at.
Yeah, I could agree with that. You know, Morgan's a craftier, less bloodthirsty
True.
guardian player than I am. And so, the prevailing thought could be, maybe we use that Hulk to get up there. Uh, we get that senator, and now we're hoofing it backwards. He can sit back there and then now have his opponent try to work his way through his line. Hulk uh, is going to be able to weather some stuff. Now, with sacrifice being in there, that and having Groot around, all that other stuff, there could be a plan to do that. So
Yeah, that Groot sacrifice play being available is going to be really big for Hulk's survival long term.
yeah, I really like the sacrifice card usage in this particular matchup, just because this is going to be a violent, low-scoring game, no matter
Yeah.
way you shake it. I believe Suzume had brought out like a more interesting list. Like I said, I think Falcon is he's here to be a specialist this game, and if you start to see him kind of angling around the board, and you're maybe visualizing what that L range might look like across from a Star Lord, look out because that is a card that is here for one freaking purpose.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I like this too. This Sam play gets him behind that big uh definitely Lord of the Rings banner for his shield throw. Um Protects him and he gets some pretty easy damage.
Yeah, that shield throw, big key there is ignoring line of sight and cover. So that is just fantastic. You're going to get a little bit of guaranteed power generation. Whether or not it does you anything is irrelevant. So
Well, the bigger
uh,
thing there is he can actually push Groot with that shield throw as well,
correct. Yep.
which is
And
pretty
that's
crucial,
yeah. I mean, with the way that Morgan's kind of placing up his Groot, it's kind of like what I had anticipated. I
right?
think we're going to see Hulk pressure that back line. He wants this center point. Now, honestly, if Groot gets pushed and that takes him out of that incineration range, I don't know if you're all that upset if you're Morgan. Because if you had to choose a model to get incinerated, I'd take a flaming rodent any day, right?
Sure.
Because Groot is just going to be taking all that damage into him anyhow. So,
What I really like too is Morgan has a ton of options for movement flexibility on Hulk. He's got that climbing gear, he's got that gamma leap. Like if Morgan wants to be to deal that damage into Voodoo next turn, he has a lot of options to get this to deal the damage, get the Senator and boogie out of there.
yeah, and that that very well may be the case. I know. I mean, it's just going to depend on how much damage Hulk takes.
If Hulk, let's say Hulk takes no more damage the rest of the round, where would you be looking for Morgan to go with him at the top of the next round? Would it be move up, attack, and then maybe grab the Senator, leap back, or leap forward, double attack, get the Senator climbing gear back into sacrifice range? There are a lot of possibilities.
Well, two things come to mind, right? Is if he can get his rocket up there, and if he hasn't spent anything with his Groot, which he hasn't, right? They're going to have Deadly Duo online at the start of next turn. And if he has Rocket within a range and you do have three viable targets, that might be the first turn, depending on what Groot's damage totals are looking like. Not Groot, but excuse me, Hulk's. And so, getting that offline and then, potentially climbing gear a Hulk up to get up right onto that thing, and then somebody has to walk up and pick up the thing, and then he's got all that mobility to just
Right.
do exactly what you said and get the next model. He could daze two models next round very easily
Sure.
off of that deadly duo play,
Is
and
Morgan
really
considering
force somebody to come up and grab it.
is Morgan considering the climbing gear play right now? I don't know if he
Uh,
is.
he could be. I mean, both of these guys are going to have deadly duo online next turn.
Yeah.
And
Well, not Leaf because he doesn't know Groot, right?
oh, is that right?
Yeah, Leaf did not bring Groot because he brought Falcon.
Oh, geez, I'm not even paying attention. Yeah, that is wild. Well, thank you,
So,
sir.
oh
I
yeah,
take things for
totally.
granted because he is such a fantastic model here on Demons. For the reasons that I've mentioned with Rocket, that's how I
Yeah.
usually like to do my Demons down plays.
Can we just talk
Um,
about how savvy of a play this is right now by Morgan, knowing that only Nebula's left, so he can climbing your Hulk up to not be incinerated, so that
yep,
he's in position to do whatever he needs to do with Hulk next turn, and he's out of that range 3. So he's even okay taking something from Nebula, you know?
correct. Yeah. Because that climbing gear, that movement from Hulk is coming anyhow, right? So if
Sure.
we can avoid the incineration and not give Nebula a chance to really maximize and leverage her skill set, um, you're absolutely correct in pointing that out.
What's even bigger about this too is Morgan, by doing that climbing gear, can punch Voodoo, and if he kills Voodoo, if he gets it on the first one, he can grab it, move, then Gamma Leap all the way back to his back line.
Yep.
And then Voodoo's dazed, which means he can't even do anything to potentially possess him, which would
Well, I
put
mean, it would really open him up to become a really good field dressing candidate. That's why I think you
true.
might see a deadly duo first, uh,
Oh,
to draw
interesting.
somebody in to where Hulk's at to try to come pick it up and then run away because Hulk can just go get him anyhow.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it could just become a major attrition round for Morgan at that point. He could easily put down a voodoo off a deadly duo. There'd be at least two attacks going into him. He does have 3 candidates and targets there. Well, actually, I take that back. That rocket is behind that car.
Yeah.
So he does still have 3 candidates with where Nebula's at, but rocket is untargetable
Right.
on Suzume's side.
So you're
Which
looking
maybe
at
why he's running him independent of Groot, I guess, on this.
got some winging
Might
and
have saw
token
something
usage
on
here
that map.
too. Two damage from Nebula into 2 blocks from Morgan. It looks like, so no damage into Hulk there. And so Morgan's gonna score 2, and Leaf is gonna score 3. But Morgan, most importantly, has Prio, which again, you bring up a really interesting point about that deadly duo, because if you daze Voodoo with the deadly duo, um, that opens up a lot of opportunity. It's tough though, because if you daze him, do you really want that senator to get uh, popped off? Um, and
Yeah,
have
absolutely. Because at that point, this is just be the way that I'd be thinking about it. Is you're going to have another model that's going to come up and grab it. They
well,
might be able to move
don't
on
you
to that
have to
back
do
line.
deadly duo on Rocket's activation though, or am I wrong?
Correct. Yep. Ron
Right.
Rocket's activation. So you pop it off. It sits there. If somebody wants to run up and grab it, um, that's either going to burn that climbing gear, or that's going to burn a movement.
Well, they've got
Um,
both climbing gears have been spent at this point, right?
oh, great,
So
fantastic.
you don't have to worry about that anymore. Um, I would just be concerned with something like Rocket using Deadly Duo, popping it off Voodoo, and then Falcon on Leaf's turn, grabbing it and bolting.
And if he wants to grab it and bolt, and then open himself up into getting nuked by Hulk, right?
I guess you can only do one movement a turn when you've got the Senator, right? I'm almost positive that's the
Senator
case.
becomes one less dice and defense dodge rolls. This
Oh,
character
nope, your
picks up.
speed's just small, right?
That's the that
Yeah.
is the alien ships.
God, they're all
So
the
your speed
same.
is small,
Yep,
or and you roll one less dice on defense and dodge
sure,
rolls.
sure.
But at the end of the day, it's still only 2 points, right?
Yeah,
So kind of what I'm saying is that if you can bait somebody into coming up and picking that up, you're going to get it back anyhow.
that's fair. That's fair.
And not only that, they've now wasted, potentially 4 to 8 plus dice coming down range at you by just coming up and picking the thing up instead of throwing dice down.
Yeah,
And if you're
yeah.
Hulk, I think you got to like that. Because if he gets, dogpiled onto too much, it's going to put Morgan in a very bad spot. So personally, I'd just be all for letting the thing sit and then grabbing it at my leisure, or letting them grab it and
Sure.
then killing them for their trouble.
I'm really interested to see how Morgan opens up this turn, because he's got a lot of options available to him.
Yeah. I guess the other part of that too that looks potentially to be very bad news is he's got his beam attacks that can come through there as well
Oh, true.
with the
Yeah.
Hulk. So I mean, even more reason I say just deadly duo it and then just beam attack into everybody. He might be able to hop over that car, end up getting rocket in the beam, or you can just throw the car into part of him. He's only going to get one activation, and if you can force him to use that activation to go pick up, well, there goes the senator.
Yeah. So it looks like Morgan just, you know, attacked, attacked Voodoo. You can see at
Nope.
the top there, you've got
Yep, with his
3
Hulk.
crits
Yep.
yeah, his Hulk, and just daze them. And then big here too is that Voodoo does only have 5 power, so that he can't just auto Brother Daniel um, Hulk. So he has to do something to either roll to get a skull or get a sap or an attack with power in order to be able to do that. Now Morgan has a choice on what he is going to do now that the senator's right there.
It would not surprise me at all to see him just go backwards with this and force people to come into his deadly duo
Yeah.
and rocket. I mean, you're
Looks
looking
like
at a potential 4 point scoring round for Morgan to 1. So
you have another attack coming in somewhere. Something's or a throw. A throw's happening.
yep.
Throwing a car at who was it? We'll see in
If
a
it's
second.
3 dice, it could be either Nebula
Uh,
or Star Lord.
so he threw that car at Star Lord, which is good because it gets rid of that cover for Rocket.
Yeah, and then here comes your beam.
He might just be doing a normal attack into Rocket. We'll see.
Oh, he doesn't have. Well, no, he doesn't have enough for the beam. I believe that costs 3.
Yeah. Um, sorry, Rocket always gets cover, but what I mean is I should have said line of sight. So the car is not now. Rocket is no
Yeah,
longer
it's no
behind the car
longer
and can be
attacking.
attacked by the other Rocket. I misspoke. The Rocket does always get cover. Yes. Oh man, that's just there's some saucy stuff happening here. That now that that car is gone, his rocket is incinerated and is in that deadly duo range.
Yeah, the old funnel of death right there is.
Yeah. All
So
right.
I guess you could say that the Hulk activation there is fine. It gets rid of the cover for Nebula. Obviously, it gets him a chance to pick up the Senator.
So it looks like
That is
Rocket
going
did
into Rocket.
roll. He
Yeah.
rolled 3 damage here on Rocket with Hulk, which is a little low. And Rocket manages to get two blocks on one die, which you love to see if you're Leaf.
Yeah, good old rock hard
Yeah.
raccoon. He is impossible to kill sometimes.
A good winging it token usage though to get 2 more from Morgan, and a push.
3-5. Yep. And that believe will kill Rocket, at least
Yeah,
for
that
now.
I think that will do it because of the great winging it token usage. And then Hulk's going to be able to pick up that Senator, and I think Gamma Leap back. Yep.
It's a good, fairly. I mean, look, you want to get that damage through on Rocket, so I mean, of
Yeah.
course, you're gonna get your winging it tokens out there. Hulk doesn't need him for defense due to the way he has his defensive roles if he really needs those. So you really want to try to get those out offensively with Hulk because it's just the larger dice pool, creating more opportunities to convert
Yeah.
some blanks and shields.
I also like how Morgan's kept him out of that incineration range.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that first round climbing gear, as you'd called it, was a very nice play.
Savvy.
Because one, it really threatened that center line with the Hulk there. He immediately moved up a Groot and said, "I'm putting 2 people in the middle here. Let's draw a line in the sand." Then he's like, "Up, just kidding. Here comes the Hulk up off of that. So I've got the middle point anyhow, and none of the negative effects."
And Morgan obviously has that field dressing too. So even if you do get all 20 damage onto Hulk, you have to be careful that you can't just field dressing him up for another bit of devastation. I think Leafs in a bit of a tough spot here now because you have to get that Senator back, because you're gonna
Well, yeah, it's gonna have to be one or the other.
because
He's gonna have to really start pushing to contest that center point, or get the Senator back.
yeah, well, not just that center point because Morgan will be up on that parity. You have to get either all 3 demon portals or get the Senator back in the long term. What you can do to keep parity is, yeah, you could get the center right now. You could, but you only have 3 activations. You got Falcon and Star Lord and Nebula can't do anything. So I don't. You, I think a field dressing is going to have to happen. I think
Yep.
he needs to field dressing Voodoo, move him up, try to get a power, and then drop a Brother Daniel token onto Hulk. Has to be the play for Leaf.
Yeah,
But
that's probably gonna have to come from Star Lord
Star
and then
Lord, yeah.
yeah.
Now, um, because you'll be able to prevent that Hulk damage, but you may not be able to prevent the Brother Danieling. But like you said before, that just opens up a whole other can of worms because then Deadly Duo is online to just dunk on whatever is up in the middle.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. And that's you know you got to imagine this is one of the reasons why Morgan's just such a fan of the Hulk. Um, just because he can get those 2 attacks off. He does have a gigantic base, um, which makes him surprisingly mobile off of those gamma leaps. Right. Um, you take a look at it and you think it's a 2 range, but when you factor in that base size, he can hoof it. He can really hoof it with that gamma leap.
I mean, next round, if he still has that Senator for any reason, he can just Gamma Leap, move, and say see ya. Though, I mean, you can always the offense of Hulk being able to leverage that with a dazed rocket on the table is really nice. Like if you get rid of that rocket, it's gonna be. I mean, we also look what just happened here. You've got a dazed Groot for Morgan. Nebula just came in.
Yeah, and that's why you really don't like to have him be the one that gets incinerated. It takes down that pretty shaky two dice already, and basically reduces his defense by 50%. Right?
Yeah,
With if you're going to get somebody incinerated, it's you really want it to be Rocket there, but with the way that Morgan played it that first round, I think he really wanted to get that point. Um, there's going to be a couple of things that have to happen here. Like one, I could really see a field dressing of Groot come in here from Morgan,
yeah.
um, because that's going to bring Deadly Duo back online.
But where is he gonna get that from? Like, who's got the power to do that? That's the thing.
What I would well take a look at Rocket right now.
So
So
Rocket
currently,
launches into uh
either Nebula or
yeah,
Star Lord. Um, Most likely Nebula.
pretty
Um,
pretty rough roll from Rocket there, only getting one.
so yeah, that's what you're seeing right there is Rocket potentially setting up for that field dressing play.
We
So it'd
are
be a
again sorry guys on the lag here. We are missing some of these dice rolls. It's sort of tough because they're Morgan's in Australia and Leafs in the States, so stuff is sort of tough. It looks like Rocket finished his turn there. Did not get the one power to get the field dressing off to do a deadly duo.
yeah, and that's got to be a bit of a disappointment there. But looking at the way that things are from an objective standpoint playing out, I think you got to be pretty happy if you're Morgan. It is quite expected to see this at this phase, so Um, it's going to be really interesting to see how Suzume is able to come back and make this work. Uh, One of the biggest problems that you're going to find here now is Falcon is going to come up there and just start tearing into that rodent. So,
Yeah, that's a big problem.
is a huge problem because if he doesn't, finish him off, he's pushing him around.
It's just amazing how
Uh,
that how big it was that Groot days happened.
yeah, yeah,
So that's 2 damage right off the rip onto that rodent. And it looks like it was a charge from Falcon too, so
yep,
they'll be able to get another shield throw in there.
yeah. And this is actually not a bad situation for Suzume as far as I'm surprised he's not taking the opportunity for the push. Does that have a wild trigger on it, Farmer? Or
So the push just happens, I think, but
yeah, so
the wild, but if he pushes him, he can't do the follow
yeah,
up
the wild
attack.
is the ricochet, yeah.
Yeah, the wild's the ricochet.
And you absolutely can. He still would be in range if you still pushed him. I just
Yeah.
think any opportunities you can to separate those two, you really got to take advantage of it, especially
Mm-hmm.
because it might be able to push him out of field dressing range with him if he somehow
Right.
lived this. 'Cause he is at 4 currently, so if this attack whiffs,
That's bad.
that would be pretty horrifying.
Looking at 2 there
And then Rocket is blocking 1.
with the cover. Yeah.
Well, actually, that's 3 dice being rolled by
Yeah, where I wonder what this attack is. Was there a wild that we
Star
missed? I don't
Lord.
think so. Is this Star Lord into? I guess I'm just confused on what happened here.
And there's 3
sacrifice got
dice.
played. Sacrifice
Okay.
got played.
And now he's getting the
Yeah,
okay. Yep. That's blocking 2 from Morgan.
yeah,
Oh boy. And I think he already popped his winging it token.
yeah.
Suzume did. So that rodent is going to live.
Wow, that's crazy.
The good thing is the threat of Deadly Duo is offline this round though.
Sure.
So I mean, now's the time to try to get hyper aggressive and make your push if you're Suzume. Looks like Morgan is seeing that coming. And he's going to bring in Star Lord to come up and support this.
Yeah, because you do want to hang on to that. Um, you want to hang on to that point. And again, the danger here is this Star Lord field dressing into Voodoo happening.
Yeah, that is gonna come. And so, if you're Morgan, it's let's get my Star Lord up here and let's try to sink in some damage. So
So
that looks
where
like
is
an
this?
element gun from Star Lord. And it might be going into Nebula
Yeah, I think
with
he's doing a
two
hit
guys
and
there.
run. I think he's doing a hit and run
Yep,
into
because that's gonna
Nebula
get him
into a
up to
move.
that point.
Yep. Oh,
He didn't spend the two
he's
power. Nope,
plucky. He's doing plucky in here.
did not do the two power at the beginning. So that was just a regular element gun.
Is he just double tapping Nebula here? He might be and not moving
Yep,
up. Yeah. Oh my
just taking
gosh.
that back line. So there's two crits in a wild. That's gotta like
Yeah.
that here, making up for that first roll.
Yeah. So you got 5 coming in Nebula right there.
Yep, that's gonna put Nebula down. Oh no, she's got five. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So she's blocking 2 there. Didn't take any damage on that first one. It didn't look like. That'll be it
Be
for.
plucky off the first. Yeah, okay. So he doesn't
Yeah.
have any winged tokens there.
Yep. So Nebula
He's gonna be at
takes.
three. Yep.
You honestly don't hate to see that because Nebula, um, um, it means that you can potentially just daze her early on the next round if she doesn't activate.
Yeah. And still be able to maintain priority, right?
Right.
That's the biggest thing there.
Right.
So maybe the more measured approach this round, and maintaining that priority, is maybe more of Morgan's goal. Um, me again, a bit hyper aggressive. I like that early turn deadly duo into three people. I know there's going to be some folks with cover and all that stuff, but having that uh, senator drop down and just kind of create some bait there. Let your Hulk just bash that person up in a minute, anyhow.
I
I mean, you
think
could have been
you.
looking at several days models in this round.
I think if you're Morgan, you have to activate Verse with Rocket next round.
Yep.
Um.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, he's going to have Groot back.
Yeah.
So it's Rocket's not going to be in a ton of danger.
That's true. That's true. But what? Hmm. This is why I'm not Morgan. This is why I'm not in the cut. It's tough to. It's there are a lot of different permutations here.
You sure you just can't blame it all on Peter Parker?
Listen, actually, I can blame it all on Peter Parker. It's all his fault that I'm not in the cut. It's all his fault that he didn't roll. He didn't roll. He only rolled 2 hits on 12 dice. That's why I'm not in the cut. So it's
That's
all.
right.
It's all
You
his
blame it
fault.
all on Peter Parker.
That's right.
You should have stuck with the week one strategy where
I should have.
you
I should
abandon
have,
it,
man.
right?
I'm a fool.
Yeah, I don't know. We can't all stumble ass backwards into this thing like I have. I got no idea what's going on half
That's
the time,
funny.
man. I got no idea what's going on half the time. So,
Is
to
there
kind of
a
get back, yeah, go
is there
ahead.
a situation here where Leaf can hit and run up with Star Lord and um he did field dressing voodoo, by the way.
Yeah.
I think Leaf has a real play at getting this center point
Yes. And
if he
I
wants
think
it.
if you are Leaf, I mean, you've got to really make a very strong consideration towards doing that,
Yeah,
with your voodoo, at least canceling out that point being gained. Um, because honestly, there is no negative from voodoo being up there.
yeah,
He's going to be setting up for a brother Daniel anyhow. What you can do with the Star Lord is pop a shot into Hulk, hit and run off of the next shot, and then hop up on that back point. So that's going to save you some points right there.
right. I mean that's what I'm wondering here. If voodoo could move up, daze rocket, right? That gives you the
Yep.
one power you need, and then pop out that senator. Then you're on the center point with voodoo. You're getting that one, and then Star Lord can just hit and run up on Hulk, or just move, grab the senator, and then move small back if he does it right.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but if he rolls a skull on that attack as well, right?
Right.
Uh, I don't see a world where we don't see a brother Danieling here very soon. I commentated on a game the other day where There was a voodoo that desperately needed a power, and it just didn't happen for
Sure.
one guy, and it was just wild to see. He had two opportunities to roll a skull or do one damage, and just nothing. Right, so
So I think this is
um,
into Hulk right now. Looks like 3 going into him with Star Lord. I think he activated Star Lord first before Voodoo.
uh, okay, yeah, that is two defensive dice. So I'm wondering who the actual target was there.
Well, it's got. I think it's Hulk and the Senator reduces it by 1, right? So 3
Yep.
energy
Okay.
down to 2 energy.
Yep.
So now Hulk's at 6 out of 20.
Yeah, you would have liked if you're Suzume to see some more damage sunk into him in that first round.
Right, totally. I think he did the hit and run here, so that he could move up and now try and daze Rocket.
Surprised he just doesn't just grab that point, but I think he's maybe banking on a brother Daniel to be
Right,
able
right,
to get him
right.
that senator back. Um,
So that'll be a dazed Rocket.
oh yeah, yeah,
So again, this looks like we're gonna have Morgan will be down, but he's gonna have a absurd opportunity for an opening salvo attrition wise against Leaf. Like we're talking a 1 health Voodoo and a 1 health Nebula and a 2 health Rocket. It's just like lots and lots of stuff.
yeah. It's gonna be tough for him to get back there onto Rocket.
Also,
Uh,
you needed Rocket dead because of booby traps.
oh
Um,
yeah, if you're
if you're
Voodoo, yeah,
Voodoo, if you moved
yeah.
Voodoo up, Rocket could have booby trapped him.
That
So
is a great point, Mr. Farmer. And knowing that he has basically the end of the round to finish out his activations,
yeah,
uh, you really got to like that play.
it's
I
very smart. It's savvy play. Like a lesser player would have not realized the booby traps and moved Voodoo up, and then Morgan would be like, haha, dead Voodoo again.
Yep,
It's a
and
game
that
losing move.
that feels bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've had people just forget that Rocket has that. And you love to do it when you've got an opponent that only has one damage left, right? So,
Oh, it looks like a field dressing got played by Morgan for Groot.
oh, good. Yep, really taking advantage of that activation there.
Yeah, this is
Um,
big because if Groot can move up and daze Voodoo,
we absolutely can. Um,
I mean, you. So here's the thing: you swap Prio, but you hold the middle. You save yourself 3 VP basically,
yeah,
and you make him
when
lose
you
1.
make them lose
Yeah,
basically field dressing, you just burnt
yeah,
that.
yeah. So we're just checking. We're checking. So I am Groot is range 2, which he was checking range for, which he's out. So he'll only have his 5 dice strike if he wants to try and daze Voodoo because he wanted to remain in that bodyguard range for Rocket.
Yeah, so that'll be a 5-on-4 dice scenario.
So you got 2 hits. Nothing for Voodoo though,
Ugh,
and the winging it token for posterity. 4
yeah,
hits. So that is an absolutely massive move there. Brought about because Hulk was able to get the power for the field dressing. So Morgan goes up 5-3, swaps Prio, which is big, but and he was able to heal himself too with Groot, which is pretty big as well. With
yeah.
Groot's
I mean
healing,
that's
you go
that
from dazed to only 3 damage on you.
living plant. And that's that's kind of why I was trying to call for the try to figure out a way. And this is
Yeah.
why he had activated Rocket when he did earlier.
Mm-hmm.
One, because he's exposed out there, but two, if you can end up in a situation where you power up enough with Rocket, you're able to get to say that magical 6 power, right?
Right.
If you're Morgan, you field dress Groot, and then boom, deadly duo.
Exactly.
and he kind of missed out on that. So I know he's probably kind of kicking himself. And if you're Suzume, you kind of have to make that play. We've both kind of seen that burnt field dressing at this
Sure.
moment. But if you're
You had to though.
Groot, right, you got to be like, well, I'm a little bit more healed up here, and I'm not dazed at the end of the round. Like, yeah, you're losing priority. But at the other side of things, there isn't really a hitter in Suzume's roster, right? I think probably the hardest hitting model that he's going to have out there is Nebula, and she is going to be an absolute load at the beginning of this next round.
There's a lot happening here too. I'm wondering if let's see what we got going on here. This is going to Groot, I think. You got a big swing coming through. So that's 4 on 2. Wonder if this was a Red Wing assault from.
That's not enough dice from Suzume.
Yeah.
This is probably Nebula's activation, like I was thinking. That could be just her attack
Oh, her
builder.
regular. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And that looks like yep.
Yeah, so Groot
So
took 2.
she did get it up enough power for a shock sword assault, or did she? What are we doing here?
Another really bad roll too. Let me check Nebula's card.
I'm surprised we didn't see a shock sword assault. I'm
Yeah.
confused.
Pretty sure this is Sam.
Oh, is this
Okay.
Sam?
Makes more
Okay.
sense.
Oh, it's this. I was right. The Sam shield throw, trying to get the ricochets and whatnot.
Okay, yep. Man, I feel like you really got to go with Nebula here, because that would have been a 6 dice energy into Hulk, um, with rerolls of everything. So that'd be 6 on 2. I mean, that's a pretty spicy bit
Well,
of rolling
I
into
totally
him.
understand trying to get some ricochets off here and try to daze Groot to turn off the deadly duo.
Yeah, but you could still get that from a blaster
Yeah,
pistol with a Nebula as well.
right.
Afterwards, and um, he's still gonna end up being out there. This is tough. I
Right.
mean, it's well, there's I guess
So
a
I think we have a
charge.
charge happening because he did
Yeah,
get the ricochet on that first attack. So I think he's doing a charge and then doing another shield throw here. This is
yeah,
Groot again trying to survive. So Groot only rolls that 1. So I think we
that's a
will
good
see a
roll.
dazed
Causa.
Groot.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
And he gets the ricochet to maybe go into Rocket to kill Rocket.
Wow, look at Falcon putting in work here, making me
Yeah.
eat my Nebula words.
Yep. You only get 2 dice here on Rocket. He will get cover on one of them. And he's got the
Uh,
crit.
Actually, that apply with Sam because it ignores cover and line of sight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
so
this
it's
is
one of
bad
those few
news.
things that cancels out
Yeah.
that.
So 3 gets 1 block there from Rocket. So Rocket will live, it looks like.
Oh, the rat. Gotta love it.
I think.
And he's already lining up a shot with him too.
Oh, yeah, he's just considering,
We
right? I think.
we might see Crew here.
No, Groot is
So
is
Groot's dazed,
dazed.
right? And so we don't
Yeah,
see we don't have a field dressing online anymore. And yeah, he can't use Deadly Duo if Groot's dazed, right? I don't think so.
correct. Yeah, so that's absolutely the right play by Suzume.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to try to get the damage into Groot, take that thing
right.
offline. I still don't know. Gosh, like this is all coming back to turn 1, where it's like if we're able to sink more damage into Hulk, I think
Right.
that really makes you want to put the pedal to the metal on that and really get that going, right? But we're already kind of seeing the danger of leaving a Hulk on a table for as long as we have so far, in that he has this gigantic, health
Health
pool,
pool. Yeah.
and do you have enough models and enough dice to sink into him before it's too late?
And you just saw Morgan checking the range on that range 2 on his rocket for the Hadron Enforcer. The range
Yep.
2. Uh, Star-Lord is out of range 2 of Voodoo. So we're just checking all his ranges, seeing if he actually, if he does want to activate Rocket right now.
I think you
Just
have to, because
looking at
he's
all his
going to
options.
get dazed.
I mean, you could do 2 Hadron Enforcers, right? He's got 7, so no. You could do definitely do 1 Hadron Enforcer into Voodoo in a regular attack, but Voodoo will be tough to fully
I
take
still think
out.
you really need to daze Nebula here. That is the hardest hitting
Yeah.
model that Mr. Cosmo's got on the board by far. And
All right,
she
what do we
really
got
only
here?
has one purpose in this game, which is smashing things up. So if you can stop that,
Got a really good roll from Rocket here.
and that is a Hadron.
Yeah. So 4 blanks though, and a good roll from Voodoo, so 2. So it's 4 total damage. I don't know if Morgan used a winging it on Rocket's defense.
Yeah, it looks like the only winging it token he's got left is on Hulk.
Yeah. Oh, this is on. Is this who's he attacking here? Because I just saw a couple rerolls happen. Maybe that was on Star-Lord? Because he didn't get a defense, so he got to Plucky. Yeah, I think Star-Lord just took a damage. Then we got a regular 5 die coming from Rocket. For another 2. Oh, it looks like that attack was into Voodoo for 2. Voodoo used his winging it token. Thanks for the chat for keeping me up. It's hard to see where everything is going. So yeah, that'll do it for Rocket. You managed to get 2 damage onto Voodoo, it looks like.
Yeah, which is fine.
And you daze Nebula, which is
And
great.
that's really the biggest thing there.
Yeah.
That's the hardest hitter that's left on the board.
Yep.
I think you definitely need to get her out of the way.
Yep.
This does open up some pretty good avenues for Hulk.
And the good news for Morgan is he's in a situation where he's up by some VPs. He can lose the Senator if Leaf doesn't pick it up, right? If he kills or dazes whoever ends up picking it up with Hulk after he gets voodooed, that's more than okay with Morgan.
Yeah, no doubt. I think if anything, you do have an opportunity now, potentially, if you don't see a voodoo activation here to get him off the board if you're Morgan as well.
Oh yeah, I mean,
For this
you
reason,
can't
I think.
voodoo. Brother Daniel's useless if voodoo's dead, right?
Yeah, annoyingly, and for folks, in case you guys aren't aware of this, if you actually daze him and he Brother Daniels you before you daze him, it does stay around for the rest of the round. So, killing him, on the other hand, which is quite possibly one of the most satisfying things you can do in this game, in my
It
opinion.
very much is. I agree with you. It's very
uh,
satisfying.
that is not the case. It does stop. It ends. That horrifying thing is out of this game. So.
All right, so you see, you got a voodoo activation, which I think Leaf has to do.
I'm a clever guy. I call him Doo-Doo. I don't like him.
Very clever.
Yeah, very, very classy and clever. It's how we keep things up here in Seattle, my man.
Yep. So we got a voodoo here onto a Brother Daniel onto Hulk, which we knew was coming. Cost voodoo that 6 power. And then voodoo will conceivably spend 1 to pick it up.
It looks like he's within range.
Yeah, it is. Yep. So he'll pick that up. Then does he run? Like, what?
I love how the Web Warrior player in you, that's like your natural state. It's like your natural mindset. Like,
Do I run now?
Oh,
You don't always have to run, Farmer. Like,
okay. Listen, man. Well, what does it look like he's gonna do right now? Run. It turns out.
That's just doo-doo stuff right there. Voodoo doing his thing.
Well,
I
what
think
he's
he could have
doing
gotten
here
an
is
attack off in some spot there, because I think he's still gonna have that movement back onto this point. Um, so in taking a look at some of the power generation situation, like I guess maybe he didn't see any benefit into attacking anybody, which is why he's
yeah.
just opting back.
And you see, you've got Morgan trying to figure out that was a good, move steal move with Voodoo because um,
Yep.
Hulk can leap and then move, but he only gets one attack to try and deal 4 into Voodoo, which is definitely possible, but like difficult, right?
I mean, you gotta remember that there is the potential. I believe that's a medium throw. So if there is
Yeah. And
a
then
world where
Brace is online
Voodoo and
too,
Star
right?
Lord, so he does still have Brace, then okay.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be good for Mr. Kazo there because
Yeah.
that could create some problems. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm never gonna say anything nice about what Voodoo just did there.
Brother
So
Daniel's only getting 4 physical defense because of the Senator.
Right. So I mean, without the brother Daniel, he's only getting the 1, right? So if Hulk stays brother Danieled, if he doesn't recall him, which I don't think he has the power to do right now,
not yet.
then Voodoo has 1 defense die.
Correct.
So
So it's just a matter of whether or not he's able to really get down there. But Uh, we shall see, because I think that's going to be coming. The other option would be
a
uh,
thunderclap.
the thunderclap. If and that looks maybe what Morgan might be measuring out there, but I think it's a little bit too far. So
Yeah.
first up is going to be the gamma leap.
Yep.
It is. Oh, is he going to try to thunderclap him first? Yep. Okay.
It's interesting. Yeah, because the beam 3.
So that's going to turn that into a 6 dice attack for the Hulk, I believe.
Yep. And then for Voodoo, he's looking at 1 die still, I think, because he can't
Good.
recall.
Good. Oh, see, he's got too many. So did he beam him through Star Lord? What do we got going on here?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening. If this isn't a Star Lord first, or is he doing an attack into Star Lord first? A strike? I think he's doing a strike first into Star Lord. Yep.
Yep, because there's the
Yep.
push off of it.
Yep. Absolutely. Great call there.
Yeah, which is weird because he had it looked like he'd spent power after.
Yeah,
So that must be the gamma
he didn't
leap.
have the power to do the gamma launch and the thunderclap, so I think he does this into Star Lord to maybe get the power to thunderclap into Voodoo, right?
Yeah.
If he so desires to do that.
Well, how much damage did he get through there? So that's one. Geez, that's a major hit into Star Lord.
Yeah, he's dazed. It's a dazed Star Lord and a lot of power on Hulk.
Just one shots him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, and as anticipated, at least
Yeah.
prophesized, we could even say. Here comes your thunderclap.
And he still has a winging it token against 1 die. So, getting 5 hits here is not crazy given all of the rerolls.
No, but that's just a massive swing into a Star Lord there.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
I mean,
So
that's
you're looking
rough.
at 4 here.
Yeah. Plus, he's got 2 blanks, or a blank and 2 shields to wing it off of. So
Yeah. So
you can already
3. So you
see
got
Morgan
3.
hovering around that part of the board.
All right. So Voodoo rolled
Yep.
1 block, which he absolutely had to. Really crucial there. And Voodoo's the winging it does so only 2 damage into Voodoo. The winging it ends up being a dud there. The big thing about that Star Lord days, though, most unfortunately, is that that I believe means that Prio is going to stay with Leaf.
Sure, but at this point of the game, I think from an attrition standpoint, this is looking very favorable for Morgan. Um,
Oh, he's in a really good spot attrition wise, right? He just needs to make sure that Leaf doesn't have get in a situation where, um, I think now Rocket's going to try and kill his Rocket.
yeah, I mean,
Move Hadron Enforcer seems good.
I don't even know if that's all that necessary into the other rodent. Um,
I mean, you want to try and guarantee it, I guess. I mean, that's 2 blocks now for Morgan.
you were correct with the Hadron. Yep.
So you're looking at 6. So that'll be a dead Rocket.
He's been vaporized into
He
a puddle.
has.
The puddle and some fur
Yeah.
left behind.
And that does hurt because Morgan never got that deadly duo off. So it's just really good play by Leaf there to ensure
Yep.
that never happened.
But like I was saying, I really liked it at the beginning of turn 2. I don't know if you're taking notes there, but I would like to see what
Mhm.
Morgan's thoughts were on the options there. Just getting that deadly duo off. I think it could have been. That's a 25 dice minimum scenario there.
Yeah.
Plus whatever damage he's got to Hadron after it. And it doesn't quite let the that card fall off the table. Because Leaf did a really great job of like you said, just kind of managing the health pools between
Yeah, absolutely.
Rocket and Groot to potentially minimize or take that card out of the game.
And again, Morgan's got a few issues that he's got to contend with. The top
Besides
of the round.
Australian internet.
Yeah. Namely, the fact that he does not have priority.
Yeah. I mean, that is going to be big. There is still the threat of a nebula out there.
Yep.
We saw Falcon actually open up the last round with a pretty decent salvo and get some work in, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, he also has Birds of Prey if he wants to just daze that Star-Lord right off the rip.
correct. And Morgan Starlord has moved up a bit more into the
Yeah.
fold. I think if you're Morgan here, he's smelling a little bit of blood, and you can really see that team advancing up, just on the heels of their Hulk there. So. It should be really interesting to see if he just kicks this into hyper aggressive mode and just tries to just put an end to the game.
It's tight. It's a tight game right now. But keep in mind, an I Am Groot is online, which is one of the best attacks in the game. The stagger won't come into play probably because of Crew of the Milano, but it could be. It's still a lot of dice.
Well,
There's
and it's
also-
also a medium throw,
Yeah.
Which is a fairly large factor because it is omnidirectional.
Mm-hmm.
So you could literally take that a voodoo per se and just go and chuck them back into the center of your team there. It's a little bit more fun when you've got booby traps online.
True.
As is most things, including some Hadrons at closer range, but still, if you could force a brace out after getting that throw off, that's got to feel pretty good too if you're Morgan, because that might be able to set up a model on model throw later with his Hulk.
And we're into a situation here where Leaf has to pick his first activation very, very carefully.
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
You do not want to mess up your order of operations here with your characters. And it's worth noting that both players have like a ton of time left. Morgan's got 51 minutes and Leaf has 45. Like, we're not in a situation where the clocks are even relevant.
Yeah, so far, from anything that you've heard, Farmer, has anybody really come close to time?
Actually, yeah, we had
Oh, that was right, Mike.
yeah,
Mike's game.
Mike's
against,
game against Jeremiah.
against England.
Jeremiah got down to like 8 minutes or something. But
Okay.
that was another really close game that just, swung, things, the games can swing for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I know Mike is a cohort there on the Strike Better cast, so
Right.
you hate to see that. On the flip side of things, if I might offer a counter on some side commentary on that, you do like to see a Cabal team do. So.
You do. No, I am with you. Okay, so yeah, someone's going into Groot right now.
Correct. Yep.
but only 2. You got a winging it token happening. You only
So that is
oh, it's
Nebula.
Nebula getting the rerolls on the contest, right?
Yep, and on the Shock Sword Assault, it appears.
So Groot and then winging it tokens, so good. Taking out Groot's
I
probably
don't normally stack that onto my
Yeah.
Nebula, but I think that he knew that he needed to get a
Yeah.
really big round out of her. So uh, that is a great way to just really maximize your damage potential. Getting a stun put on Groot
Yeah.
always feels good. So
So then she can place within 1 here. Though only deals 3 damage to Groot. Groot got the 1 block. That was not with all those rerolls, he only got the 4. He was hoping to get the 6.
definitely, and I mean, if you're Suzume on that, that is not what you want to see. I think
No.
it's in most worlds, it's very possible that a Groot is going to be taking 4 to 5 damage on that,
Yeah.
instead of a situation where he's getting 4 hits.
Yeah. So he's doing a
So here's you're
regular.
going to be doing a blaster pistol.
Oh, 2 skulls. That is rough. That is really rough because that means Groot's going to live. 3 skulls. So only 1 damage into that Groot. And that's
Yeah,
a
that is
really that's a poor activation. I would say sorry. The result is poor.
An unfortunate,
that
unfortunate
is
result on that activation. I mean, if you
Yeah.
look at the last 3 dice rolls that have occurred here, uh, at least some of the more pivotal ones, you've got Star-Lord getting 1 shot, right? You've got Groot essentially surviving in I would say, an unlikely scenario here where he's only got the 1 dice. And he's going up against 10 energy dice with unlimited rerolls, basically, or any rerolls up against him. So
Yeah, and I think now
there's a
Morgan
really
just
strong potential that you could have seen in most circumstances. Groot hit the dirt there.
Yeah. A lot of opportunity for Hulk right now too to do a bucket of damage.
Yeah, I even like the Groot activation here because he's got the ability to heal.
Yeah, I think you have to go Groot. I
And
think
I
you
think
have
that's what
to.
you're going to see more
Yeah.
than likely. It's just
I think
to get
Morgan's
his
just checking
activation out.
everything.
Maybe you can drop a root onto everybody on the way out the door. Heal yourself. Just do as many annoying Groot things as you can before he takes a dirt nap.
Yeah, Morgan just checking all those ranges. Thinking about what to do. I mean, you could not activate Groot, but I think you have to. You can't risk him dying here, getting killed by Voodoo or Star Lord or any number of things. You could accept that even with the heal, Groot could die, right?
Well, sure, but it's going to require potentially 2 attacks from your
Yeah,
opponent to do it. Um, and having a character's activation get wasted. I mean,
yeah.
let's be honest here, man. We're only in round 4, and Hulk only has 6 damage on him.
That's a huge win. A huge upside for her. I think we got a Hulk attack coming in.
Okay, so he's gonna go for some violence here with that.
That's a really spicy first hit. You're looking at. So this isn't a rocket. I think he just wants that dumb raccoon out of there.
Whoa, hey.
Hey, yay, yay. So
It's,
that's 3, 4,
it's a
5
very intelligent
damage.
creature. One of the greatest strategies in the galaxy. Strategists in the galaxy.
The other thing getting rid of him does too is it gets rid of all his dumb booby traps.
Those are fantastic. You Hadron somebody and booby trap him off of it. Chef's
And
kiss, rodent world.
and what this power gain does is you got Hulk at 7 now. And do you know what a 4 Hulk smash plus 3 Gamma Leap equals? 7 power. So
Now you're playing Moneyball right there. So that very well could have been the real reason that Morgan really wanted to just, besides trying to please Mr. Farmer here, who apparently hates Rocket.
I do hate Rocket. I actually just had to trap a raccoon in my backyard and send him off to wherever the trappers take raccoons. So I'm not a big fan of
The
that.
upstate farm.
The
right?
upstate farm, that's right.
Yeah.
He might listen. It all depends on how much Morgan cares about getting that senator, because he might just do a regular strike into Voodoo and not a Hulk smash, so that he has power to pick up the Senator after.
I mean, he's got a 2-point lead. If you get a chance to murder a model, I'm all about it.
Oh,
But
well, he's
that's
gonna.
just.
Oh, I think
That's
here
just
he's
he's
starting
gonna
with a
throw it
throw.
and then beam.
Yep.
Nope, no beam. It's only
Nope.
at 2.
Burning the brace is really good though. That's smart.
Yeah. Yeah, because that throw is going to be online at any point here.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so yeah, well, we are going to get the standard attack out of Hulk.
Which is still just
Substantial. Yeah.
Voodoo does get
5 blanks.
it should
Goodness.
only be 3 dice on Voodoo, right? Because he's holding the Senator.
Correct.
Yep, so they're gonna reroll there.
Morgan accusing him.
Ooh, Voodoo with 2 crits. Hulk doing the blank out that he's good for.
He does have some winging it tokens, so you're
Yeah,
definitely going
but
to.
you got 3 blocks coming in on Voodoo. This is a disaster
Oh,
for Morgan.
well, maybe you don't see the winging it tokens.
Yeah, because there's
You're not
nothing you
gonna
can
get
do.
anything out of it. Well, I mean,
Yeah, that's
you
that's
get 2 successes on,
Mhm.
that's a damage, so
Yeah.
might as well save it for defense.
Yeah, that's a nightmare situation for Morgan not getting that.
Oh, he's going for it anyhow.
2, 3. Yep.
I got a wild trigger that gives him a push, correct?
Yeah, the push is nice. The push is really, really nice.
Yeah, but do you want to push Voodoo further away from anything? I don't know. He could opt not to do it, of course.
Mhm.
Maybe, but I think if you're Suzume, you don't really care. I'm going to look at that kind of neutrally.
There's also a really, really scary Bird of Prey into Star-Lord play
Yeah,
available.
looming. Yeah,
Looming.
that is. I've been wanting to see this thing all game. If I were to be honest with you, it's like, wow, what a niche card to be kind of brought into this. And there's only one model on the board that it can be used against. So, I am going to be excited when it happens.
I wonder what's this double push for here? Did I miss something?
Well, I don't think that.
Oh
Was a
no, that's his
double push.
activation. He's just fleeing. Voodoo's just running.
Yeah, because I was going to say he hopped over that car. So
That's really, really interesting that he
I
took
don't
that activation to run with Voodoo. I mean, it makes sense, right? But now
how because he's going to lose potentially 3 points on demons if Morgan wants. So it's just creating more of a point deficit.
Yeah, I mean, Falcon can go all the way back here onto this demon point way back downtown.
Yeah, I
like
would just pop back, with a
yeah,
Star Lord, or at least just get your 2 points here. If Falcon wants to go on that other side of the board, then take your
just
Hulk
out of
down there and just go kill Voodoo.
range into a
We are Groot, or I am Groot.
yeah, but he's just out of range of it. So he does heal though, which is great for him.
Yeah. I mean, dropping a root token on people
Yeah.
never hurts either.
Yep, 5 dice into somebody. And yep, some winging it token usage here.
Probably could have got Falcon with the I am Groot if he had opted,
I think he wants that VP though.
Yeah. Yeah.
3-4. So I think this is in Star Lord because I think we're seeing a plucky use here. Oh, great plucky into 3
Oh, yeah.
blocks. So only 1 damage going through on Star Lord from that group.
So there are some really clutch swings in Mr. Kazo's favor there.
Yeah.
We have seen like a number of rolls kind of go Morgan's way
Right.
a few times in a row there. And now I'd say like the last 3 rolls have really worked out for Mr. Kazo. So
The good news is almost no matter what, Morgan is netting, I won't say 100%, but he'll be getting 1 here, right?
yeah,
Maintaining
guaranteed.
that parity. He's not rooting characters. I think he's keeping his power pool alive to save that I am Groot or his heal. So you could
Well,
see
it
it.
looks like it had healed at the beginning of the activation, and
Yeah.
so I mean
So you,
it's only once per round now,
mhm.
so not too
Right,
much
but I
more.
mean, but just for next round, right? You want that big power pool on Groot to be able to, if he wants to heal and do I am Groot.
Oh, sure, yeah. I think that if you're walking up and you're using one activation, I think you're absolutely correct in the fact that he is prioritizing that back point
Yeah.
over being able to maybe reach Falcon with it. Or maybe he had thought he'd be a little bit closer to Star-Lord,
Hmm.
and being able to prioritize that back point and then taking the gamble of whether or not he can reach Star-Lord, which is more appealing to him. But uh, that living plant that's only coming in at 2 power, right? If you heal yourself up this round and you spend 5 power to do an I am Groot, you're going to be starting out next round with 6 power anyway,
That's
right?
true.
And so, well, maybe not 6 power. It'd probably be a little bit less than that after the I am Groot. So he'd be at what, 3, 4 power.
Hmm.
Um, and then if somebody wants to attack into you, and if you survive, because you're going to be at 1 damage anyhow, well, guess what? You're up at 9 power. So I think both of those options would have been there had he chosen to go for the I am Groot, or opt to root a Falcon to put a little bit more of a tax on his charge or some other things like that, or his defensive shield.
I'm lightly surprised he didn't I am Groot into Falcon because he can't crew the Milano the stagger off there. But
Yeah, yeah, that is a good point too.
so we got a
That is a really good point.
charge there with Falcon. Really bad roll. Who did he go? Who's he going into? Is he going into Groot? I think no, it's Star Lord because he's incinerated, and he
Yeah,
pluckies into one block, so no
and if you're gonna
damage there. Which
and if
you
you're gonna
love to
end
see
up
that.
with an incinerated player in this game,
Yeah,
Star Lord is really not one of the worst ones to have that happen to, because the ability to plucky attitude off of that stuff, I can't tell you how many times it'll save you
yeah,
as a Guardians player. Um, just because you're probably going to get, one in there. And if it's
yeah.
not a shield or you get nothing, fine, just plucky attitude
We got a bird of prey
until you
coming
get what
in.
you want.
We
There
got
it
a bird,
is.
but 3 skulls.
Oh, goodness.
He's gonna reroll all of them. Oh, just a devastating, awful roll for Leaf here. Then he's got his winging it token, just doing everything he can and only getting 5 on
That,
Star Lord.
it could have been a
And then who
lot.
pluckies into 2 blocks. Wow.
I-
You
right
use
on cue with the plucky attitude, Star Lord.
man, that
That
is
is awful.
rough. That is really, really, really rough.
Yeah, and look at Star Lord still sitting there with his winging it tokens on top of it all.
Yeah.
Goodness.
So
Well, I was excited for the bird of prey. I was like, oh, here it comes in my mind, and I was actually getting kind of quiet about it. And no, to be denied. We're seeing another really big dice swing
yeah,
come back around here.
the math
Uh,
is really, really rough there.
yeah, I mean, you get these niche cards, right, Ryan, and
Yeah.
you have these things, and like you finally get a chance to use it, and then do you think that's why some people kind of don't run these things?
It can be tough, you know. Let's
Yeah,
see. Sorry, they got 4 damage. He's going to use. I'm not sure who this is
there's
into.
a wing in it.
So you've got 5 in here. Is
So
this
that
into
would have been a
Nebula?
full auto attack from Star Lord. So there's going to be a status
Yeah,
effect popping out here.
it's into Nebula. It looks like throwing a shock onto her.
I don't see a world where she lives through another full auto,
She took 3
which is,
damage there.
which is what we're seeing come through.
Yeah. And if he does get her, his offense, Leafs takes a pretty big plunge. Good start. Oh, he's
4.
gonna get her. Yep, he gets
Yep.
her. Yep, he got the 4 he needed there. So Nebula drops. Pretty smart
Yeah.
play there, and he might a Star Lord might get dazed here. But Morgan is in a very heavy attrition mode right now.
Yeah, I mean, when you take Nebula, which is the most dangerous model on the board for Kazo, out of the matchup, I don't see anything on this board stopping the Hulk from doing whatever he wants, basically
Yeah,
from
he
here
does
to.
not have enough offense left to take out Hulk. We know. I mean, I- actually never say never, but like
Well,
it doesn't
I mean,
look that
Star
way.
Lord can put in a lot of really good work. Those full auto attacks are no
Yeah.
joke. They're a fantastic spender. Um, if you stack up some
Yeah.
wilds on the Hulk, he's having a very bad time.
So this is
Um,
going into Hulk from Star Lord right now.
yeah.
3. And he does have a winging it token if he wants to use it.
Which
Uh,
on a roll like that, I mean, you have all the opportunity in the world. It's really going to depend on what Hulk or whoever his target is
yeah.
does there.
Oh, is this into Groot instead? It's into Groot. It
It
looks
does look
like.
like Groot,
Yep.
so
Yeah,
he's
removing.
taking
Yeah.
really big stock in the ignore Hulk.
Yeah. I mean, this is
It,
smart because if you take another piece off the table for Morgan, right?
it does open some things up. So yeah, that was a full auto hit and run. It
Yep.
looks like.
Yep.
I don't think he gets
Just
away from the Hulk enough though.
yeah.
Um,
And the fact that Falcon is at full is pretty big for Leaf as well.
yeah. I think what he still being on the board and having his mobility, and some of his tech, could certainly
Oof.
present
So
a
that's
lot of
going to be
interesting challenges.
that's a dead group there for Morgan. So Morgan only has Hulk and Star-Lord and a Dream left.
Yeah, I think you're feeling okay here if you're Morgan. Personally, I just Hulk is going to present
Mhm.
uh, too much of a challenge. His Star Lord is still healthy, um, so that is another thing. I mean, you're looking at several days, or excuse me, injured models on Kazu's side of the board
Yeah.
that, um, in the same way that I was saying that Star Lord puts in work. Well, these are both Guardians teams, so that is a knife that can cut both ways for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Again, like I kind of mentioned, I think one of the biggest things, as you had also already pointed out, was there is a healthy Falcon out there. He is
Yep.
untouched.
Yep.
So with his mobility and some of his defensive tech, he could be a major X factor in this game.
Well, Morgan staying up by 1 is also really big here. Hulk's a
Yeah.
little bit power starved, so he can't do a he can do a gamma leap and a strongest one there is. Um, so
There is a world where I could see Hulk going into Falcon here, uh, or a Star Lord into Falcon. Just try to daze him.
yeah, if you
If you keep the
daze
Hulk back
Falcon
there,
right, and you're able just to maintain, I'd be worried about that Star Lord coming up and dazing your Star Lord. Um,
require a lot of movement to
yeah,
do, and essentially, like, I don't know that that's awful. I mean, you could take your
yeah,
Star Lord and rotate him onto the back line, and then just try to bait somebody to come up to that. So he's going, yeah, he's going
yeah.
for it.
Going Hulk. Yep, he's going for the win here. He's gonna move right, just getting within that 2. There's obviously some dice involved here, but I like my odds with Hulk punching and throwing a car, right? To deal 2 damage onto Voodoo. If you don't do it, you just accept that. You just accept that you did what you could.
I mean, that would be horribly unlikely. I think this is obviously the stronger of any of the plays available.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Cuz
presenting some different looks.
we are in
Um,
here's the thing, we are in round 5. So if he gets this Senator, doesn't matter what happens with Morgan Star-Lord. He can only if they stay 2-2 the rest of the game, he's got to daze Hulk to win. And he can't daze Hulk and maintain parity. So this very well is the game right here. Getting this
yeah,
damage onto Voodoo.
I'd be, I guess the other thing that I'd like to potentially ask these gentlemen about is, we know that Voodoo's in a precarious spot from a health standpoint, but is it
All
so
right.
much that we want to evacuate down to the corner and just have this
Yeah.
happen, right?
That's the thing. All right, so we've got 4 damage coming in from Morgan with only 1 block on Voodoo, so that will do it. I think we got some other winging it's here, unless I'm missing something. 3, 4. You got 2 health left, 1 block. That's 2 damage into Voodoo. Am I missing something here? Oh, no. He was doing his winging it's because Voodoo has a winging it. Right.
Yep. Yeah, he's just burning it. Yeah.
Yep. So Voodoo blocks the 2. So he takes 1, but now Morgan can just throw him into that car, and Brace has been burned. Which he... looks like, yeah. Voodoo's going to be KO'd.
Yep.
Yeah. So that'll be game
Also
unless...
the attack, I think, right?
Yeah, that's going to be game unless Leaf can go all in and get all this damage on. And it's what you said at the very, 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 very start of the game here, right? The not getting a lot of damage on the Hulk round 1 proved to be pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, his mobility, obviously the dice, there's very little you can do once he's out there rolling about the board. Hulk serves a very similar spot, I think, for Morgan as maybe
Yeah.
what a Ghost Rider might for somebody like myself or Mr. Kazo. It's there are 2 ways you're going to have to go about dealing with this model. You can ignore them, or you can uh, go all into them.
Right.
And you just can't choose. There isn't really a right answer. I think when Morgan forces him up the board like that and presents himself, that if that goes well for Morgan, I think at that point you just take a look at that Hulk and just you wave it off,
Yeah.
and you get on with trying to do what you can with the rest of the board. And
And
to
Falcon...
Suzume's credit, he's really committed to that
Yep.
in this game, and you just can't waffle on it and go back and forth.
I think this is going to be game because Falcon just failed to daze Star-Lord there.
Yeah.
Falcon just did 2 attacks into Morgan's... hit 3 health left on that Star-Lord and did not manage to get it.
Yeah, and that's going to be rough because that's going to give,
Yeah.
that back point to Morgan there.
Well, he's able to just dunk more damage into Leaf's Star-Lord now.
Correct.
Maybe daze him.
And you're going to see a full auto here just because he has the power supply for it.
Mm-hmm. And he still has winging it tokens.
Yep, and that's a
So you got 2
wild
blocks.
there.
Yep.
The status effect that I'm, of course, putting out onto his Star-Lord
A shock, right?
is going to be a shock just
Yeah,
because
to reduce
his
the
only
offense.
shot.
Yep.
Correct. Yeah.
That's still a
Um,
big... That's
6.
6. Yeah, 6. So that Star-Lord's taken 4.
Yep.
He's down to 1 health left. No, that KOs him, doesn't it? Yeah,
That
that
does.
KOs him.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's only got 5 on his injured side.
And I think they'll probably call it here.
I think if I'm Suzume, I might call it a season.
Yeah.
Another fantastic run from another Guardians player.
Let's see if they... I don't know if they will play it out here. Let's just see. Because that Voodoo should also be taken off the table. We'll see if they play it out.
It seems like they're probably chatting a bit right now. Yeah.
So that Voodoo's gone. I think they're just chatting to see here. Because Suzume's down 1, 2, 3 right now. He could charge into... It's round 6, right? He could charge into Star-Lord. He could charge into Star-Lord and daze him, get the point.
Well, then Hulk's just gonna walk
And
in there.
then, and then roll a I don't know, a Red Wing assault into Hulk and get 8 crits into 8 crits. I don't know.
If that happens, right, you're gonna have to explain some things to Morgan. I would not envy. I would not envy the situation your guys.
Wait, how much is what's that? I just gotta see because I know Falcon doesn't have any power anyway. But hypothetically, Red Wing assault 6. So if you get 6 crits you get 12 6 crits into 6 hits, right?
I just don't know it's possible without the wing in it token.
Yeah.
So no, I just it's a
Yeah.
bit academic at this point. It's cool that these guys are rolling it out.
Yeah, totally. I think they're just playing out this last round just to, Hulk's gonna move. He's gonna get the attack onto Sam.
that mobility of that guy
Yeah.
is so horribly underrated.
He's so good. I actually think this updated Hulk is right on curve. Like I think he's exactly where he needs to be.
Yeah. Until, people start seeing that he's good and stuff, and then he starts getting used and everybody just complains about him like any other model, right?
I'm okay complaining about Voodoo.
Well, yeah, he's trash. Black Cat is also fairly trash.
I think
Uh,
just either her
I'm not
steel
one of those
or
guys
just
that's
stagger
like,
needs to be tuned.
correct. I'm not one of those guys that's saying that, Thanos is overly
Yeah.
broken. Because he's an 8 threat model. I think, they could
Yep.
probably
Oh,
make,
insult to injury just dazes Sam
yeah.
at the back end there.
I mean, not
Well,
surprising with the way that this game's
Morgan
been going this
finishes
time.
14-8. We'll give him a second to chat it out, then we'll hop in for a quick interview. But overall, what's your kind of cooldown on this game? Like, well, it was pretty close. It was pretty close. Do you think the turning point might have been just Voodoo maybe moving away a bit there instead of going offense?
I think it's two parts. I think that contributed, but I think it all comes back down to that turn one,
Yeah,
and just not being able to get anything started with the ball rolling on Hulk.
yeah,
It kind of allowed the Hulk train to run wild, be a little bit out of control.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
there were another couple of dice swings that are a bit pivotal for Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the thing that probably kept Kazo in the game longer was breaking up those deadly duos.
Totally. That
Uh,
was big. That was really big. Leaving it.
yeah,
That's
that's
really hard to do too.
yeah, it is. You have to have
Yeah,
experienced or know what you're doing against Guardians
yeah.
to figure out ways
Yep.
and know and really go to bank on like how can I break this up? You know,
Let's let's slide into the chat here with these guys.
yeah, we'll go pop over.
Was huge,
Hey, how we doing,
Yeah,
guys?
absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
right? Because that let Groot come down, heal up,
Yeah.
take spenders, and also, like eat up other attacks that could have gone elsewhere.
Hmm. I thought you did really well to stop Deadly Duo.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was definitely on my mind to stop that from being a
So,
thing.
hey, great game, guys. Just incredible by both of you. Really, really, really close overall. If you're down, we have a couple questions for you if you guys want to do a quick decompress.
Oh yeah,
So, Morgan, first question for you is threat level, right? The choosing that 14, right? You did not win prio, so you were picking the 14 over the 19. Where was your head at picking that? Strategically?
So he can't effectively run Ghost Rider and deal with the Devil at 14. So for me, he was running a bunch of minnows and capping out at a 4 threat max, unless you want to do a crazy 13 threat build. And then at 14, it's very, very hard to deal with Hulk.
Right.
So I thought I could leverage advantage by getting priority. I mean, demons is the attrition, and you need to go big on demons, I think, to make up for the senator, because normally whoever gets a senator is advantaged, obviously. And so I thought going 4 wide with Hulk, A, he didn't really have an answer for Hulk, and B, I would be able to, I think I expected him to go 5 wide, so I thought it would let me maintain priority and put the attrition pressure on. It was an attrition gambit, and it paid off, but it almost didn't.
Yeah, I mean it was really close. Leaf, my next question then is for you. The field dressing onto Voodoo obviously didn't roll your way. If you were to do things differently, would you have played that entire situation again in a new way, or is that just how the dice kind of go? It just ended up that Groot was able to take him out.
Yeah, I think it just kind of ended up that way.
Yeah,
like after I'd played it, I'm like, oh, there's other field dressings up, so I'm like, I'm gonna just take out Rocket.
Totally. Barncat, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I got a couple. I think I go back to the roster building stuff, and both Ryan and I were pretty surprised to see a Falcon out there, and we were kind of talking about some of his merit points, and just how he might be able to fit in really well with this matchup. I think you were probably expecting a lot of energy attacks out there, as most people are, in going up against Guardians. So did you feel that some of the defensive tech and mobility of Falcon would be something that could really help you win out, vice bringing a Groot on the table?
So Falcon is amazing at killing Rocket.
Yeah, sure is.
Also, the Birds of Prey didn't pan out, but should be amazing at killing Star-Lord.
Agreed. Yeah, we were.
And at that point, I pretty much like Falcon is straight gold into two characters that Morgan's pretty much guaranteed to play.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were.
I
feeling
love
you
the idea.
We were feeling you hard on that Bird of Prey, man. That was really, really, really rough.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking forward to it all game. I was like, that's an exotic card. It's here for one purpose. It is a specialist type thing. With Morgan bringing his Star-Lord up and having that range come in, you'd like to obviously see better there. But yeah, it was really interesting to see the build, and could not agree more as a fellow Guardians player with your assessment of what that shield throw and what Sam does to Rocket and Groot.
It was a good call. I thought Leaf got really, really unlucky not to. A couple of things we were just chatting about, but especially that Falcon
Rough.
with the Birds of Prey. Like I had Star-Lord written off as in the dirt, and I was really surprised when he rolled a bunch of skulls and didn't get enough hits. And yeah, that was one of those feels bad Marvel moments.
Yeah, definitely. Second question is actually from Mr. Reed. Congratulations on the W. Happy to see a Guardians player move on, even at the expense of another Guardians player. But speaking of a Guardians, there was a Guardians Tactics card that you didn't get a chance to get off this game. And I was looking at it really early there in round 2 and thought that that's something that you might have been setting up for that round 2 rather than the Hulk activation. Your choice not to use it, was that because of maybe some of the cover elements there, or maybe wanting to clear up that line of sight onto his rocket before you'd pop the card, or what was the thinking there as far as the activation order?
Yeah, no, that's fair. Look, valid to play Deadly Duo there. There's probably a really good time for it. My concern was that I didn't think Deadly Duo was going to be enough to get Voodoo, and even if I did get Voodoo, he can field dress him, and then the token's going to be too far away, so he holds onto it. So whilst I might be able to do some damage, it's quite dicey. I've got one wing in at token, and I can make 5 attacks. I can probably make 3 attacks on Voodoo, or 3 attacks on a single character who's probably got a wing in at token. So whilst it's a good play, I find it's more useful later. The risk is, as you saw here, and I thought Leaf played really well to deny me to use that card. That was a masterclass in stopping Deadly Duo. Really well played.
Yeah,
but
Farmer and I had a comment on that especially.
Yeah, but the threat of having Deadly Duo there drew his attention to Rocket and Groot, and drew his attention away from Hulk and Star-Lord. So there's a bit of that's part of it. But the other part is that I was not certain, but I thought Hulk would be able to get that token and force that field dressing to come out early, so he hasn't got that trick up his sleeve for later in the game. So I generally don't like doing Hulk early, but I did him early this game a lot because I needed his dice to come through, and we saw a really critical part where it didn't against his Voodoo on round 3 or 4, was it?
Yep.
I thought that's maybe where I would have lost the game when Hulk didn't land that damage. I thought, oh boy, like he's going to run away, and I'm in real trouble here. But yeah, so that was the thinking behind it. I don't know if it was right or wrong in hindsight, but that was why I activated Hulk first instead of Deadly Duo.
Totally. Well, guys, thank you so much for a great game. Congrats to you, Morgan, and Leaf. Congrats on an awesome run and a great season for you. And yeah, just happy to see really good competitive play on these top tables.
Well, thanks for streaming, Farmer and Sly. Thanks for commentating. Leaf, apologies that one of us had to go. Thank you as always, a great opponent. I think we last played, when was it, in season 4 in the Cup?
Season, 4 or 5.
Yeah, no, 5. I didn't make the cut in 5. I bombed out.
Then it would have been 4. Yeah.
Morgan's list of enemies continues to grow. The people who...
man, I thought you played really well, and I thought you probably deserved to win that, and probably unlucky with the Sam there. I thought you had some good tech into my roster and did really well. So apologies and thanks for the game. It was a really good game.
Yeah, great game as always.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Cheers, guys.